By the way you stared, the way you rolled up on me, yeah. Man, I felt your energy. Wasn't used to being loved and treated differently, yeah. But something went wrong, the signals got crossed, and now we're on completely different pages. Let's go where we were, where no one gets hurt. Baby, keep it right there, don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up, we should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus, don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Boy, you take me on a trip, always up and down and back and forth in merry-go-round. I just wanna get it.
Hey, B.
Hello, A.
Hey, B.
Oh my God, this week always just takes like forever to come around, doesn't it? I feel like so much has happened since last week.
Yeah, definitely.
So much. I think Naomi put us on screen and then took us off and then put us on screen again. This is going to be quite funny actually when we watch this in the playback. But for those of you who have joined us before, hello and welcome, and thank you for joining us again. For those of you who are new, my name is Bianca. I'm a life and business coach and also a massive advocate for raising awareness of narcissistic abuse and empowerment, all-round empowerment. And every Monday I do this show with my wonderful co-host Aynur, and we focus on narcissism, codependency, and female empowerment. But today we're doing a live Q&A for you. So, A, do you want to do a little intro? And then I guess we'll get stuck into the questions we've got coming through.
Absolutely. So, hey everyone, my name is Aynur. I'm a life and narcissistic recovery coach. Just like Bianca, I'm here to spread awareness on narcissistic abuse. Every Monday we're here trying to spread awareness and get it out to as much people as possible. And yeah, that's me, B.
Yes. Okay, so obviously we thought last week we were kind of like, okay, let's do something a bit different because we like to get you guys engaged in it. We're doing this show every week for you, share knowledge that we have that might help you to kind of get out of the situation you're in, view them differently, or just give you that education to empower yourself to make better choices. So with that in mind, we thought, well, what better than just to ask you to give us the questions that you have, and that we'll answer them live. So today, that's what we're going to be doing for the next 25 minutes or so. And yeah, we're going to go one for one. But if there's a really, really deep topic, then we might both give you an answer as well, just so that you get a really, really good insight into what you should be doing. So let's have the questions then. Okay, so this is an interesting question. How do narcissists get away with the way they treat people? You want to take it first, eh?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a short answer. They have been doing it their whole life. Mm-hmm. You know, this is how they get through life, is by, you know, using people. That is what they do. They are master manipulators. That is, you know, they lack empathy. So they're not going to think about, you know, what's going to happen if they treat someone a certain type of way. You know, it's always all about themselves. So when someone's been doing something their whole entire life, you basically become a master to it, you know. So yeah, that's how they get away with it, is they know how to manipulate people, they know how to shift the blame on other people, they know how to get away with things, make it look like it isn't them, play the victim, make it look like innocent, and they've been doing it for so long that I guess it just becomes very, very natural to them. So that would be my answer. B, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's like spot on. And then also they have like people that they get involved in this as well. And we've done previous lives about what you call flying monkeys, that are people that they also manipulate around your circle. It could be their family members, your family members, mutual friends, colleagues, whoever it is, to get involved. And so they do their bidding for them. So in a lot of times when you're a narcissist treating you really badly, sometimes it won't be them that actually comes back to manipulate you and draw you back in. It might be a friend, a family member, a colleague, your child, anything, you know, anyone that can basically form a connection with you, and that they can plant seeds with, will be used as a flying monkey. So definitely do more research into flying monkeys as well.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. What have we got now coming up? Let's see.
How to not let a narcissist affect you.
How to not let a narcissist affect you. Okay, so I think that let yourself off the hook a bit, because at the end of the day, narcissist or not, you are a human being with genuine, real feelings. So you are going to be affected by things, whether they're good or bad, because human beings that are not narcissists and don't have a mental illness actually have human emotions. So something good happens, it's natural for you to feel good about it. Something bad happens, it's natural for you to feel bad about it. So with that in mind, the only way that you can not let them affect you is to cut contact with them, like completely go no contact. Now, it doesn't mean they won't affect you initially, because maybe the first 6 months to a year, you'll still be affected. And if you've been in that relationship for a long time, you might have something called CPTSD, which might mean for years down the line, you could be affected in different ways because of the trauma that you've gone through being around or with that narcissist. However, the impact is far worse when you allow them to keep staying in your life, because what they do is they keep on re-traumatizing you, and making your wounds deeper and deeper and harder to get out of. So the only way that I personally found that I could let narcissists not affect me was to completely cut them off.
Yeah, I agree, B. That's exactly what I was going to say. I was just going to say, remove yourself from the situation. I don't think there's any other way.
No, no, not at all. Unfortunately. I mean, fortunately, but at the time, it's not what you want to hear, is it? But that's as genuine as we can get with the answer.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Me and my boyfriend broke up around 2 years ago, and I'm still not over him. And I miss him so, so much, even though he was awful. Every time something good happens in my life, he always comes back. Is this a sign?
Yeah. I think the problem is in the question that he always comes back, and that you allow him to come back into your life even though he treated you a certain type of way. And I think the question you need to ask yourself is, number one, why did you allow someone to treat you a type of way? Get to the bottom of that, to, you know, why you let this happen to you, and why you keep letting it happen to you, why you keep allowing someone that treated you so awfully to keep coming back into your life. And once you get to the bottom of that question, I think you'll start to uncover a lot of other things. But I think first things first is you need to stop them coming back into your life. And even though as hard as it is, and you really, really miss them, that pain is temporary. Them coming back into your life over and over again, like Bianca said, re-traumatizing yourself over and over again, that is a lifelong pain that you're going to have to deal with. And that heartache, that missing them, is never going to go away. It's either you pick temporary pain that you go through it for a short period of time, and then you start this whole new life, you start loving yourself, or it's a lifelong pain of them, that this person that keeps coming back into your life, that keeps, you know, bringing negativity back into your life. I think it's a choice, B, that the person needs to make.
Yeah. And also it's like every time something good happens in my life, so basically he's not there for you no matter what. He only wants to be there when you're winning. And to be honest, narcissists is probably what probably happened is narcissists always have a few people around for different supply. You probably were the one that was there for good supply: money, sex, fun, success, fame, whatever it was. You were there for that. You were there to bolster that good side. And so if you ever hit hard times in your life, they'll kind of leave you hung and dry, and they probably induce a lot of the hard times in your life, but they definitely will be around for the good ones. You know, tell a narcissist you've come into a bit of money, or I don't know, God forbid, like someone in your family's passed away and, you know, you're going to get an inheritance. They'll be sitting around waiting for you to, you know, it's true. Like, they'll be sitting around waiting for you to cash in. Do you know what I mean? Wiping your tears at the funeral and, yeah, laughing all the way to the bank, basically. So you miss him so much as well because he's still in your life. And if he wasn't still in your life, he wouldn't still know all the things that are going on, you know, all the good things that are happening to you, and therefore wouldn't be able to come back and forth. So you might not think maybe he's not in your life in a way like maybe you don't call him every day, maybe you don't see him, but you definitely have people that are connected, or he's definitely has access to your social media or something so that he can see what's going on with you. And that's how he's able to pop up. Definitely, I would say as well, start working on yourself. Shift the focus away from him, because it will really, really help you with your confidence. And the more you love you, the more you'll dislike him. So yeah, it's useful to work on self-love.
Definitely.
Okay, what we got coming up next? Got loads of questions. Oh, Aynur, you've been here. So how do you deal with a narcissist in counselling?
That is a really hard question. I can tell you about my experience,
yes.
Because at the time I didn't deal with it good. I didn't deal with it because I didn't know what was going on. You know, most of the time when narcissists take you to therapy, that take you to counselling, it's usually because they think something's wrong with you, or they want to prolong the relationship, or I call it the abuse and the control. They want to prolong it, right? So when I was going through that, it was, you know, every session was kind of turned onto my issues, my anxiety, my depression, my sensitivity. We were going to therapy to try and sort the relationship out, but he always brought up the issues around me. So the way I would deal with that, you know, I wouldn't in those sessions, I would just be crying, just be breaking down, thinking there was something wrong with me, when, you know, it was the person I was with that was causing those anxieties, those depressions, those things. So I would say, if you think you're in a narcissistic or you think you're in an abusive relationship, you know, to go separately, not to go as a couple. Because I don't think it works. Like, honestly, from my experience, I really don't think couples therapy with a narcissist will ever work. No. I think you need to pay for your own therapy. You need to go separately. And that's the only way, you know, the therapist can give you really good advice. You can be, you know, you can tell the truth, because most times you're scared. You're scared to say what really is happening because the person's there. I know I was. So yeah, I would say just go separately. But
yeah, definitely. And it's interesting, every time we get a question about dealing with a narcissist, you know, instantly within me it's like, well, you don't deal with them, because there is just no dealing with them, is there?
Yeah.
It steps in a process to get to that place. So I think these questions are really, really useful. And, you know, we've asked ourselves all of these questions. There's no question that's come up here that I haven't asked myself. And maybe actually the questions that are coming up, I think it would be good if we carry on, maybe like recalling just times when we may have asked that question and what kind of phase we were in, what we wanted when we asked that question, because then it kind of gives a bit more context, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Okay, so next question.
Experience with a narcissistic parent.
Okay, so I have experience with a narcissistic parent. I think, I mean, what do you say about experience with them? It's not a great thing, that's for sure. And I think that from my perspective, I think that having experience or having experienced any type of narcissistic abuse or like psychological abuse or anything like that from a narcissistic parent is what creates the breeding ground for you to continue to go and date narcissists when you're older. So I think the experience on my part was definitely kind of creating in me codependency, creating in me a sense of wanting to seek approval, and creating in me a sense of inadequacy, that I was constantly trying to do things to feel. So like, you know, success is one of the ways that I kind of tried to feel that I was like done very, very well from a very young age, working wise, with the amount of money I earned, with the positions I had, the responsibility, you know, I kind of was playing that perfect person. And I also, you know, from speaking to kind of siblings and stuff, there definitely were a few of us that were told at different times we were the favourite person, and then, you know, other times that we were the scum of the earth. Do you get what I mean? It's just that constant up and down that you would get with any kind of narcissist. So, but I think the main thing that a narcissistic parent does is creates in you a huge sense of codependency that, if you're not careful, will completely destroy all areas of your life. All areas of your life. In the worst cases, you know, you end up in narcissistic relationships, taking drugs, drinking, all types of stuff to feel a whole. So if you have had a narcissistic parent, definitely look back on our lives and our videos on codependency, because it's quite likely that you also are very codependent, and you need to kind of go through the process of healing that if you're going to come to a place where you're no longer seeking approval and people pleasing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that's with a parent. How do I know if my partner is in love with me and he isn't just love bombing? I don't want to get hurt again. Wow, that's a question and a half, isn't it, eh?
That
so
is.
What would you say about that?
Okay. Okay, it's difficult to tell if you haven't been love bombed in the past. So I think if you have been love bombed in the past, you can tell the difference straight away. It's just, you know, a feeling of things maybe being a little bit rushed, a little bit too intense from the beginning, them doing things for you a little bit too much without knowing you properly. Just the love bombing signs being there. If you've never been love bombed before, I would say the same signs, but it's a little bit harder to tell. You might think, you know, I found the one, I found the perfect person that's doing everything right for me. I think one of the things you always say, B, is try put down a boundary. I learned that from you, that in that first stage, try put down a boundary, try say no to things, see how they react, you know. That was like the best advice I got from you, B, was like, try to do things and say no sometimes and see how they react to that. That would be my advice. What about you?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely have comments on this one, because it's such a tricky one. Like you know, I was just crazy about this myself. But as well, if anyone's if you're watching this still now, remember to like, comment, share with a friend, get them involved. We're going to be here for at least another 15 minutes answering your questions as well, guys. And throw up a heart emoji if you can relate to anything that we're saying. But in terms of this, obviously, I'm in a relationship now, so, and have been for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And for me in the beginning, it was tough. Trust me, because all I was thinking to myself is, am I like with an narcissist or not? Am I being love bombed? Like, and you know what I was like, like, and literally like, listen, there's this guy, like, check him out. Do you know what I mean? Like, is he a narcissist or not? Do you think he's a narcissist? Like, because in my mind there was that. But do you know what? I had that conversation with him anyway. I had that conversation with him about there's certain things that I'm going to do in a particular way because I'm not like nothing was like forced upon me. Every question I had was answered, and I had issues with different things that I was like, okay, I don't like it that you do this. Tell me why you're doing that. Do you get me? And we'd have a normal conversation about it. And it wasn't to say that he was always super excited about being challenged by me, but he wasn't dismissive of it. He answered my questions, and if anything, most of the time I just felt stupid in the end because I was just like, he's actually not trying to hide anything. You're trying to find something from him. I'm not trying to hide anything from you, Bianca. There isn't actually anything to hide. And we had really transparent conversations. And but in terms of like, the reason why you can feel the same is because you feel the same. Now, this is the problem with it. You will feel the same as you did when you were love bombed. You won't feel you don't have that psychotic, obsessive thought thing going on. Do you get me? But you will feel the same. You'll be like, oh my God, I've met the one, because I have. So I feel like, okay, I had that feeling, oh, he's the one. Oh, actually, we got on really well. Oh, actually, we're in synchronicity. Everything was there for me, but he wasn't doing the same things. Do you get what I mean? And so maybe just think about, why are you feeling the same? Are you feeling that it could be the same because the guy is doing the same thing, or just because you have a similar feeling? Because if you have a similar feeling, as long as you don't also have signs of codependency in what you're doing, then that's fine, because falling in love is falling in love. And whether you like it or not, you fell in love with a narcissist before. So the feelings on your side were not wrong, but it's just that his intentions were not right for you. Do you get what I mean? But yeah, I kind of met my partner's family and everything before, because one of the things that I made a mistake with before was only caring about how I was treated in that stage. I never really sussed out how they were treating other people. Well, I saw them treating other people not very nicely, sometimes on the phone, being rude and different things, and talking about certain people in their family in a derogatory way. But I just thought, oh, well, maybe their family's done stuff. I've got people in my family who have done stuff. I don't go around telling new people everything they've done, but still, I could relate. But with him, it was completely different. I was watching like how he was with other people more so than how he was with me, how he was talking to people, how he looked at people in the street. If I was on the phone to him and he picked up, his other phone and was talking to just like, I remember being out with him once and he spoke to those annoying people who phone him and say, do you want to change your gas bill, or do you want me to give you a deal? And I swear to God, he was talking to them. He's like, oh, I'm really sorry, I'm busy at the moment, and do you think you could call back another time? And the guy was like, yeah, well, you should call back. And he's standing there arranging a time for this guy's calling back. And I'm when they call me, I'm like, no, I don't want anything. Goodbye. Do you get what I mean? And so I was watching him in all these scenarios, and I was even thinking, bloody hell, like, he's more polite than you, Bianca. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, it's completely different. It is different, but there's always an element of risk in love. And just because you're not going out with a narcissist, it doesn't mean that everything's always going to work out either. It doesn't mean you're going to be discompatible. So you're always going to have to take a risk. And if you're not at the stage where you're healed enough, where you can afford to take that risk with your heart, then just leave it for a while until you feel like you can do that, because it's going to be a risk anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really good advice for you. Really good.
Okay, anything else?
The top advice for healing after a narcissistic relationship. Yeah, this is the bit I love. So
you're like the queen healer. You should have been like, found my crown through my healing. That's what you should have.
Yeah, that's what I'm all about. So what I would say is, I think definitely no contact. We say it for every single question, but I really don't think you can heal in the place that you hurt. So going completely contact is like, you have to, whatever you do, you have to go no contact. You have to completely cut this person out of your life, number one. And number two, I would say get a therapist. You need to know how you got to this point in your life. You need to know why this happened. You need to understand it. You know, you need to understand it so you don't make the same mistakes again. You need to know where the pain comes from. If you have codependency, if something's happened in your past that you're still holding on to, why you keep attracting these types of people into your life. And I think that's really, really important to know why. Because once you find out why, I think a lot of things start to make sense to you. You start to understand the choices that you make. Your eyes just start to open to a whole new world, and you start to understand yourself a little bit better. You get to really talk through, you know, traumatic experiences, however big or small they might have been in that relationship. You get someone to almost talk you through them, to break them down. It makes you think like, oh my God, why would I put myself through that, you know? I would also say, you know, to join a group or people that can validate your story, people that understand you, to either get a coach or to get a group, someone that's been there that can validate your story. Because through healing, you're going to question yourself. You're going to go back and forth. You're going to be like, am I the narcissist? Am I the person that's bad? Do you know what I mean? It's normal questions to have. So I think you really need a group of women or men. You need a group or a coach, someone to be there for the first couple of months while you're healing, to really validate you, to keep you on track, to guide you. So I would say that as well. And number three, I think just to start getting to know yourself again, starting to do the things that you used to do before this relationship, starting to enjoy your time again, starting to appreciate yourself, starting to really look after yourself, like start eating good. And it's difficult at the beginning because you don't want to eat, you don't want to get out of bed. But I think if you have maybe a coach or a therapist or someone there to get you through the first couple of months, then you can start to enjoy yourself, to get to know yourself, to go out with your friends, just to live life. You have freedom now. There's no one on your back anymore. So that would be my first couple of tips.
Yeah.
I could go on forever.
Yeah, exactly. You gave those, but yeah, any one of those is like fantastic. Any one of those is fantastic, and yeah, it's a constant journey, isn't it? So start wherever you feel the most comfortable with starting. I would say definitely. Yeah. Okay, I think we've got two more questions. So if anyone else got a question that you want to get in, pop it in the comments before we sign off after these. Okay, how do you have a relationship with your narcissistic ex? He's my son's dad, and I don't want him to not have a relationship with him and resent me in the future. Okay, so this is a really tricky one, because obviously you can't just say like go completely no contact. Now, there is obviously an option to have people involved, like a third party, obviously some type of mediator, whether that is a friend or a family member on his side or your side, or if it's actually a local authority who you're going to get to come through. But there is an option of obviously a mediator. If that is not an option for you and you feel the best way is to communicate with him, then what you're going to have to do is go completely grey rock. So no emotional reactions to anything that he does, which would also include when he doesn't show up, because he will do that from time to time just to get to you and just to rile you up. So there literally needs to be no emotional reaction at all, because any emotional reaction will give supply, and any supply they get makes them feel good and kind of further serves their self-inflated ego. And if it makes them feel good, they want more of it, okay? And they have an insatiable appetite for anything that makes them feel good. So make sure completely grey rock, which, you know, if they'll do something all the time. They'll change the time on you last minute. They'll say they'll bring them back at a certain time. They'll bring them back late. The next week they'll bring them back early. You know, all of these different things, and they won't have them at all. Then you'll think that they had them, and you'll find out that they were at some friend's house that you've got no idea who the hell they are. loads of things will happen. So you have to make a really responsible choice for yourself to say, what do you think really is in the best interest of your child here, and how best to actually go around that, because, you know, your child is not exempt from their abuse, basically. And in the beginning, your child was this fantastic supply and like probably really happy to always see their dad. So the dad's kind of feeling on top of the world. But one day, your child would also become an adult and therefore disagree with his dad sometimes. And the wrath of that might not be great. So yeah, just think about it. But definitely go grey rock. And if you can go down the route of mediation, I would say to go down that route, because it's probably the best possible way. And I think as well, just don't try to kind of expect things. So don't try and expect anything reasonable, because when you get let down, which you will, then the reaction you have will just be, you know, really insane, and therefore really fuel them to keep on doing it more for you. So that's all I could, that's all I can really say on that one.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, Bea.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we've got one more, I believe.
What is life like after a narcissist? You both look so happy now. I can't wait to get to that point.
Life is golden.
Yeah. It is.
Oh, I'll tell you what it is.
So
it's
good.
life, isn't it? It's life. It's not living dead.
Yeah.
It's life.
It is. It's a whole new life. That's how I would describe it, Bea. It's a whole new life. You look back and you'll be like, what was that? What was that? What was I doing? Why would I put myself through all that pain for what? You appreciate things so much more. You appreciate yourself. You don't put yourself in those situations anymore. You love yourself so much that you wouldn't, anything close to that, you're like, no way, it's not worth it. It's not worth losing myself ever again. But it's the best feeling. Once you invest in your healing, once you come out the other side, you start living your life and enjoying your time. This life is so short. You literally don't have time to, you know, once you're on the other side, you realize that, like, I don't have time to ever put myself in those situations again. So I think it's the best thing ever.
Yeah. It's like freedom at a new level. It's you live in a different world to everyone else. Everything changes. I mean, I was speaking to my sister-in-law this morning, and she was saying, you know, on the other side of it, she was like, even I was watching Frozen, and Frozen's husband was whoever's husband was a narcissist in Frozen. You get what I mean? And she was just literally like, you just start seeing everything is completely different. And she was like, there's Beauty and the Beast, there's Stockholm Syndrome, you know what I mean? Where she loves her abuser, and it's like everything changes, not just like your life going forward, but your perception on movies that you watched since you was a kid that were telling you, you know, like this whole Frozen. Do you get what I mean? That actually you must go for the guy that doesn't like you, and there was another guy that actually liked her that was a decent guy, and that's not who she was interested in. And so they're programming you from very young, and when you kind of get to the other side of it, you watch everything and you're like, Jesus, what is going on here? Like everything is programmed to make females codependent and sit around waiting for a narcissist to come and save her life. And it's just completely different. The film industry has a lot to answer for, honestly. But it's very good. I feel very happy, free, and look, like I said, like I've like moved on in a relationship, and it's completely different than it's just, I don't even know what to compare it, but it's literally completely different. It's a different ball game. It's a totally different ball game, you know. So like there is definitely hope for like being happy and single and healed, and not sitting there like lonely and wishing that you weren't single. And there's completely hope for you to move on and be in another relationship. There's hope for you to do anything, you know, anything. So
anything. And I think like when you see women that have gone through it and come out the other end, you know, I used to look at Bianca and be like, oh my God, how is she so happy? I don't understand, you know, but it's proof. I always say it, like once you see someone that has come out the other end, you know it's possible for yourself. Like I
Mm-hmm.
never thought, you know, I would be this happy. I never thought, you know, I would help other people be, you know, their best selves and recover. But you know, I always say, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. I always say that, and it's true.
100%. Well, I think I had some good questions for us today. That was really good.
It was really good.
Yeah. If you're watching on the playback and you've got any more questions, pop them in the comments below, and then when we do another Q&A, we'll answer again. Follow us obviously on our Instagram. Our handles are up, so it's at Bianca_life_coach_Boyce and at Found My Crown for Aynur. Follow us on Instagram because we're like a lot more active on there as well. We're back here next Monday, obviously, every single week, and we'll be coming with a new topic for you next week. If you watched it to this point and you're not subscribed, please subscribe, like, share, comment, tell your friends, share it on Instagram, WhatsApp, wherever, because we just want to get the message out there and help as many people as we can, and we need your help to do that. So yeah, thank you to everyone who's done it so far, but if you haven't yet, then please join in the crew, you know.
Yeah, thank you so much everyone for watching.
Have a nice evening.